Good day, my name is Salvador Nieves, alright, otherwise known as Mr. Nieves by my students. Today we will go ahead and present to you the newest unit plan based around the light novel by Makoto Shinkai titled Your Name. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. First of all, we do want to, as always, present the learning standards that students will be covering in this. While this unit is specifically designed for 11th and 12th graders, this unit can also be slightly adjusted enough so that even 9th and 10th graders can also follow along with it. We do have four standards here. We have the speaking and listening standard, which is mostly based on them being able to speak as well as properly convey their ideas with one another. We have two reading literacy standards. First one being that they're able to identify two or more themes that are going to be central to the text. Then there's the other reading literacy standard, which is that they're able to analyze how an author's choice concerning how to structure specific parts of a text contribute to its overall structure and meaning, as well as its aesthetic impact. And finally, we do also have the writing standard, which is where they're able to produce an informative or explanatory text to examine and convey complex ideas, concepts, and information clearly and accurately through the effective selection, organization, and analysis of content. Now, as I noted before, the book we decided to go on for this unit is titled Your Name by Makoto Shinkai. It's important to note, so first of all, this novel is actually originally a film released back in 2017. It is an animated film with based around the Japanese culture. Very popular, and in the last recent years, it has also been made into a light novel as well as a manga, or otherwise known as a Japanese comic book. We decided to go on ahead and use the light novel, as this will ensure that students not only are able to practice on using their reading skills, but also it is a shorter version of what students might expect a novel to be, which is a little bit more digestible. And to top it off, it is still brand new enough that they are going to be definitely a lot more interested. Moving on. So first of all, overall, there are various goals that we are looking to achieve with this unit. First of all, some of the things that we're expecting that students will be able to understand by the end of it all is, first of all, that self-identity is a complex idea that is ever-changing and can evolve by the environment, gender, and even cultural background that surrounds them. We are hoping that with the text, they're able to understand and analyze these key concepts that will not only serve them in being able to analyze such concept, but also be able to use it in their own personal life if they so choose to do so. The other thing we're expecting students that will be able to understand by the end of it all, is how an author uses specific literacy devices such as themes and symbolism to explore real-world themes such as loss, fate, and connection. Again, this story, while it is a quote-unquote animated film originally, it does actually cover quite a few heavy topics that would be definitely interesting for students to further understand, and eventually, hopefully, they can find the connection in their own lives. Now, keeping that in mind, we are hoping that students by the end of this unit, in order to ensure that that level of understanding is achieved, we're hoping that they're able to analyze the text and synthesize it into the two following assessments that will be part of their main grade. First of all is being able to engage in a Socratic seminar. This does cover the speaking and listening portion of the standards. Students should be able to discuss on the topic of this novel, as well as being able to present the information that they are looking to examine together. The other part is that they'll be able to compose an analytical essay. Again, we want them to be able to take the information that they get from the novel and be able to present it properly to someone who may not have read this story before. Now, moving on. To ensure that students are able to get the most out of this, there are a few essential questions that's going to go ahead and guide their learning. The first one being how do traditions and circumstances shape our identity? The next one being how does the non-linear form of storytelling enhance the emotion and overall message to the reader? And finally, the last one is What does traditional Japanese views reveal about fate and connection, and how is it developed through the story? Again, these are a few questions that we've gone ahead and developed, and we're hoping that with it, students will be able to truly engage with it a lot more and keep different topics in mind. As we go on ahead, there are again also different things that we want to make sure they're able to understand, and the biggest one being is that they're able to uh, have certain concepts and vocabulary. As right here, we've gone ahead and left a list of such that you can go on ahead and, if you wish, you can go on ahead and pause the video right now and take a quick look over it. But otherwise, we're going to go ahead and move on. Now, by the end of it all, we are hoping that by the end of this unit, students will be able to master these next pair of skills. First of all, is being able to compare and contrast urban life and modern life. Again, a lot of these skills that we are actually hoping for them or to achieve will not only be skills that they can use outside of the classroom, but also just being specific to the unit itself, just so that we have a little bit more of a concrete idea of what we want them to be able to do. And once again, the first one being comparing and contrasting urban life and modern life. Then we're also hoping they will be able to master analyzing narratives and the different implications it will dive into. As always, we want them to be able to interpret symbolism. And finally, be able to construct an analytical essay with proper support and evidence. As I mentioned before, there are two specific performance tasks that we will be examining to see if they were able to understand the whole entire unit. First one being a Socratic seminar. We are looking that students will be able to have an active discussion and be able to reference specific quotes and instances that occur in the novel, and even break down the symbolism and themes shown throughout. The biggest goal, too, with the Socratic seminar is provide a safe environment for students to be able to ask questions and further discuss maybe different things that they didn't understand originally when they first read the novel. It's important that Socratic seminar is used because by engaging in a circle, students are able to go on ahead and feel like they are being listened to, first of all. And second of all, by enabling a Socratic seminar, students are going to be under the impression, and more importantly, we'll make sure that this is the impression, that this is more than anything else a discussion, not a debate. All right, as we've seen before, debates do tend to get a little heated, and above all else, we want our students to be able to truly have a meaningful and purposeful dialogue. If you notice, at the end of this a description of the Socratic seminar, we have provided a link for the rubric if you would like to further analyze the different standards that we will be able to grade them on. And finally, the overall final performance task that we will be grading them on is the analytical essay. We've gone ahead and provided two different essay prompts that students can go on ahead and actually select. They can do an essay where it is a compare and contrast, where they're comparing and contrasting the thematic portrayal of urban life and rural life, or they can also do another one where they analyze how the novel's use of temporal shifts and unreliable memory functions not merely as a plot twist, but as a narrative necessity to convey the novel's profound themes. Again, this is what they can choose either or, which will also allow for students to discuss on something that they feel a little bit more comfortable with. Once again, I've gone ahead at the end of this description. I have provided a grading rubric that you can go ahead and click later on if you would like to see the types of topics that we will be grading them on. Moving on, as always, we want to make sure that our students are able to keep up with the overall unit. So just to ensure that they are staying on task and they're understanding, and we're able to have a little bit of a better way of knowing whether or not they're understanding, there are 3 supplemental materials that will ensure that this happens. First of all, the main one being is very often we will provide a time for them to free write, where they will analyze different forms of figurative language in a 1-paragraph format. Just like in any other paragraph, they're going to provide evidence to support their analysis. So this also ensures that they're able to reference their evidence properly. The next one being is so in the story, Mitsuha and Taki are actually seen taking notes in their phones. This is more or less so that the characters are able to keep in mind what the other one is living through in their own general life. Students are going to go ahead and actually take a note out of this story and actually do something similar. They're actually going to go on ahead and participate in doing journal entries into their own journals. They're going to go on ahead and take on the characters, and they're going to take notes of something they find noteworthy, as well as include the specific page numbers and quotes that this is happening in. This not only becomes a fun activity where students are able to get in the mind space of the characters, um, but it also serves as a way for them to set themselves up to properly uh, look back on this information and use it for their final essay. And the third one being is students will receive a weekly free response quizzes. Again, while we could provide some sort of a multiple choice exam, that wouldn't truly tell us if they are understanding. They might just get lucky on being able to answer properly. So by providing a free response question, they will be able to go ahead and prove to us that they've been following along and they're understanding possibly the what is going on. Again, we will also allow for them to use their journal entries to answer the quizzes, as it will serve as a best way to mitigate the possible anxiety that they might get from these sorts of quizzes. Now, and just like in the UbD template, we've also provided our where to game plan to go on ahead and show more or less how we will be able to execute this unit plan. Again, you can go ahead and pause this video and take your time in analyzing this. But the biggest thing is that if we skip on ahead to the O section, the first week the students will actually focus on reading chapters 1 through 3 in class, and we'll be discussing the concept of body swapping, which is occurring in the novel. In the second week, they'll go on ahead and read together chapters 4 through 6, where they'll finish discussing the concept of body swapping and start talking about the non-linear format of the story being told. Moving on to week 3, they'll go on ahead and finish the book by reading chapters 7 and 8 and discuss the final moments left in the story. And on week 4 will serve as a way to not only engage in the Socratic seminar, but also plan their essay structures and provide each other the feedback they might need to ensure that they have a strong essay, and then finally provide and write the final essay to this whole entire unit.